Hello again. You'll see that I still left this on the board from our last slide because this slide talks about converting units. And one thing I talked about last time is this was milliliters and milliliters. This was microliters and microliters. So we didn't have any issue because both sides were in the same like the same, was milliliters and milliliters, right? So it's the same quantity, okay? The same unit of measurement. That's the word I'm looking for. But sometimes, well, let's do this. You run into the issue of they're not the same. So here's the question here, okay? We write a ratio of 8 weeks to 14 days, okay? Now, 8 weeks and 14 days, the problem is they're not the same. So you can't have a ratio that means anything, because if we did this, and you won't do this, but if we did this, if we just put 8 to 14, you would assume that it's all the same. It's either all weeks or all days, but it's not. So how do we solve that? All right. So we got a choice. We can make it all in days, or we can make it all in weeks. Okay? And I would make it all in days. Okay? And here's why. Because 8 times 7, that's 56 days. Okay? So that works very nicely, right? And I could say my ratio is 56 over 14, or to 14. Okay? And then I could look and say, you know, we convert it, and where do we go from here? We want to write it as a fraction, it looks like. Okay? 56 over 14. Now, when you do a little work, you can figure out that 14 go into both. But if you didn't see that, you do see that 2 goes into both, and this would be 28 over 7. And then you can see, whoa, 7 goes into both. You get 4 over 1. Okay, so you have a ratio of 4 over 1. Okay? Now, I could convert to weeks. Okay, here's the other option. We'll do it in red. I could say I'm going to divide this by 7, and I get 2 weeks. Okay, and that's fine. That'll work great actually. 8 weeks and 2 weeks. 8 weeks to 2 weeks equals 8 over 2, which equals 4 over 1. Okay? And either way, you get the same ratio, right? 4 over 1. So why did I say do it in days? Well, here's why I said do it in days. Let's take another color. I don't know. I don't think the green will show up too well. So maybe we'll have to use black again. That all looks great both ways. But what if it was 8 weeks and 13 days? Okay. And I wanted to convert to weeks. Well, the problem is 13 days is like 1 point, I think it's like 8,571 repeated weeks. And that's not going to be very nice, right? You know, it's not going to be very nice to use that. So, you know, because you'd be like 8 to 1.8571 repeated. How do you deal with that? You don't deal with it very well. So the key is to avoid all of this by saying, all right, I have an option between weeks and days. Which unit of measurement is smaller? Well, days are smaller than weeks. So I'm going to choose days as my unit of measurement. So I'm going to put everything in days, right? I'm going to choose to put everything in days because days are smaller than weeks, and it makes it work out a lot better, a lot less decimals that you have to play with. Okay? I hope that makes sense.